Hi, fourth grade. This is lesson 121 on adjectives today. So buckle up. Here we go. You're going to need your English binder. Grab it and come right back. In your English binder, you're going to turn to Jingle 3. So give a second to turn to Jingle 3. This is a review one. This is the noun jingle. Many of you learned this last year in third grade. We're just going to review it because we're going to be using our nouns to find our adjectives, but we have to remember what a noun was. So I'm going to look over here off screen to another screen that has my jingle, and you look at your jingle in your English binder. Let's do it together. Ready? This little noun floating around names a person, place, or thing with a knick-knack, paddywhack. These are English rules. Isn't language fun and cool? And yes, it is. It's so fun and cool. But the part of this jingle you need to remember is the third line, names a person, place, or thing. And you guys know this, we've done this a lot when we studied verbs, but we also did this when we did any birthday parties and we were naming a noun for our Mad Libs. And you would say, what's a noun again? And we'd say person, place, or thing. And you would come up with donut or something like that. So those are nouns. Let's say it one more time together. This little noun floating around names a person, place, or thing with a knick-knack, paddywhack. These are English rules. Isn't language fun and cool? Now, turn to jingle number 6. We're going to learn a new jingle, the adjective jingle. Are you all there? Jingle 6. Pause if you need more time. You can always come back. Jingle 6, I want you to listen first, and then we'll practice it together. An adjective modifies a noun or a pronoun. An adjective asks, what kind? Which one? How many? To find an adjective, go, ask, get. Where do I go? To the noun or the pronoun. What do I ask? Which one? What kind? How many? What do I get? An adjective. That's what. You're supposed to clap there, but my hand's kind of busy. So I'm going to say it again with you. Let's define what modifies means. In that very first line, it says an adjective modifies a noun or a pronoun. That just means it describes it. Like if I gave you the noun donut, and I said, give me an adjective to describe the donut, you would say chocolate donut, or delicious donut, or birthday donut. I'm getting hungry. Are you? Donut! Anyway, an adjective modifies is the same thing as an adjective describes. So don't let that word scare you. All right, everybody ready to do this again with me? Okay. An adjective modifies a noun or a pronoun. An adjective asks, which one? What kind? How many? To find an adjective, go, ask, get. Where do I go? To the noun or the pronoun. What do I ask? What kind? Which one? How many? What do I get? An adjective. That's what. You can review that and review that and review that by just going back to this part of the video and listening again and again and again. You do need to memorize it. And yes, you could get bonus points for saying that later on in the month from memory. But we're going to be using the adjective jingle today, especially for finding them in our sentences. One more I want to teach you, and you're not actually going to use this until later on, but go to Jingle 7. We don't actually memorize all of Jingle 7. We just memorize the first 3 lines. And they're super easy, and they're kind of fun, but they're really important because our English language would be not very sensical without these article adjectives. So Jingle 7 is the article adjective jingle. Listen to it and then we'll practice it. It goes like this. We are the article adjectives, teeny tiny adjectives, a and the, a and the. Now we're not going to memorize the rest of it because that's the only part you need to know. Article adjectives are just tiny adjectives and they're used all the time. We use a and the and an all the time. Now notice this is not and. That would be a conjunction. This is an, like an elephant. So these are article adjectives. Let's say it again. You say it with me. We are the article adjectives, teeny tiny adjectives, a and the, a and the. If you're getting strange looks from your family for saying these jingles, that's okay. You're learning. And maybe you can teach them these too. The article adjectives again will come in later, but today we're just going to be practicing adjectives. So to use the adjectives, we have to review what they ask. Adjectives ask questions. They answer what kind, they answer which one, and they answer how many. So first, we have to find the noun. Remember in our jingle it said to find the adjectives, we go, we ask, and we get. Where do we go? To the noun or the pronoun. So I have to find my noun or pronoun first in my sentence. Let's take a look at the sentence. Some deserts are near the mountains. In this sentence, they've already helped us out by finding our noun, our person, place, or thing. Deserts is a thing, deserts is a place. This is our noun. Isn't that nice? They found that for us. You're welcome. Now we found our noun. What does our jingle tell us to do next? Where do I go? To the noun or the pronoun. What do I ask? What kind? Which one? How many? So I'm going to go to deserts and I'm going to say, what kind of desert? Which desert? How many deserts? What word in this sentence tells me an answer to one of those questions? Some, right there. Some answers the question, how many? How many deserts? Some deserts. I could have said 10 deserts are near the mountains. That would also tell me how many. I could have said many deserts are near the mountains. That would be another answer to how many. But some answers it this time. So some is my adjective. And in this case, I'm just going to circle it. On today's work, you're going to be using a Google Doc and you get to highlight it with a color. Please don't use black. Then I won't be able to read it. Don't use white. I won't be able to see it. Use a color for your highlighting and you can highlight your adjective on your Google Doc. Okay, let's try another one. In this sentence, they've underlined the word desert. Let's read our sentence. Mountains keep rain away from the hot desert. Now, we've already said in our previous sentence that desert is a person, place, or thing. It's a thing. It's a place, too. But there are other nouns in this sentence, like mountains, we know is a thing. But they've chosen this one for us to find the adjective that describes it. Rain is also a noun. Did you notice that? Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's go back to our chant. What does it tell us to do? Go, ask, and get. Where do I go? To the noun or the pronoun, which they've given to us. What do I ask? What kind? Which one? How many? So I go to my noun and I ask, what kind of desert? Which desert? How many desert? What word in this sentence describes and answers that question? If you answered what kind of desert, a hot desert, you're right. What kind of desert was it? It was a hot desert. Sometimes they ask you to draw an arrow to show what that adjective is describing. But again, in your Google Docs today, you're just going to be highlighting with a color. Let's try another one. This sentence says, strong wind forms dunes in the desert. Can you find more nouns besides wind? What's another person, place, or thing named in this sentence? Desert, for sure, would be another noun. See another one? Dunes. Sand dunes are big hills made of sand that are formed by the wind, as our sentence says. Strong wind forms dunes in the desert. They want you to find a describing word for wind. What word describes the wind? What word answers what kind? Which one? How many? What kind of wind? Which wind? How many winds? Did you find it? If you answered strong, you're correct. What kind of wind? Strong wind. So use these questions that you have in your chant today that you've learned, and you can keep your chant open while you're working to guide you and find the adjectives in the sentence. Let's try a few more. This time I've taken away the questions and we're going to decide what question it's answering. So let's read our sentence. Many kinds of plants grow in the desert. The noun that they've chosen is kinds. What word in this sentence describes kinds? What word answers what kind? Which one? How many? You're right, many kinds. What question did that answer? Did it answer what kind, which one, or how many? If you said how many, I'm going to write HW for how, oops, HM for how many, you'd be correct. How many? Many kinds. How many kinds? Many kinds. So I'm going to write HM there to stand for how many. That's the question that it answered. Let's try this one. These plants store large amounts of water. Our noun is amounts. What word describes amounts? What kind of amounts? Which amounts? How many amounts? Large amounts. And what question did that answer? What kind, which one, or how many? It answered what kind. What kind of amounts? Large amounts. Let's try just a couple more. Let's take a look at these and find the nouns first. This one says, Audrey danced in the awesome ballroom. What are the nouns in this sentence? What are the persons, places, or things in this sentence? Can you find them? Well, for sure, Audrey is a person. That would be a noun. Can you find another? Another thing. A ballroom is a place or a person, not a person, a place or a thing. So those are our two nouns. Let's find an adjective now that describes the ballroom. Can you find it? What word in this sentence described this noun? If you said awesome, you're correct. Awesome ballroom. It's not awesome danced, although I'm sure she could dance very awesome. It's not awesome Audrey. We all know she's awesome, but it's an awesome ballroom in this sentence. So awesome is describing ballroom. What question did it answer? What kind, which one, or how many? If you said what kind of ballroom, that would be correct. It didn't tell us how many ballrooms, and it didn't answer which ballroom, although that could, kind of. Awesome is kind of like which one, the awesome one, but exactly which, what kind of ballroom. Here's our next sentence. Let's find the nouns. Caden roped the baby calf. What are our nouns, our person, places, or things in this sentence? For sure, Caden, that's a person. Anything else? You might say baby. Baby is a thing, but is this a baby we're talking about? No, that is a describing word. Calf would be our noun. A calf is a baby cow. That's a thing. So Caden roped the baby calf. What word in this sentence describes the calf? What word in this sentence answers what kind, which one, how many? Baby. What did it answer? Did it tell us how many calves? No. Did it tell us which calf? Maybe, but more specifically it answered what kind of calf? A baby calf. Let's find the nouns in this sentence. Deserts have dry climates. What are the nouns in this sentence? Remember, nouns are persons, places, or things. Did you find one? Deserts, that's a place, also a thing. Anything else? Climates. Climates are a thing. Now, what words in this sentence describe one of those nouns? What words in this sentence answer what kind? Which one? How many? If you said dry, you're correct. What kind of climates? Dry climates. That's it. There's no other word that describes deserts. We know that deserts are dry, but in this sentence, dry is describing the climate, not the desert. And have, as you know, is a verb. Has, have, and had, do, does, and did. You remember that. Let's try the next sentence. Hot deserts have temperatures of over 100 degrees. What are our nouns in this sentence? Deserts, of course. What else? Degrees. That's a thing. We count with degrees. We measure with degrees. That's a thing. What else? Temperatures. Temperatures are a thing. Now you might be tempted to say 100. 100 is a thing. We count with that. But 100 in this sentence is not being used as a number by itself. It could be used as a describing word to tell how many, but it's not a noun in this sentence. Now let's find our adjectives. Remember, we have to find the noun first and then ask the questions to find the adjective. So let's go to deserts. What kind of deserts? Hot. There's our adjective. Let's go to temperatures. What kind of temperatures? Is there a word in there that describes the temperatures? No, they just have temperatures. It didn't tell us much more than just temperatures. So that one doesn't have one. How about degrees? What kind of degrees? Which degrees? How many degrees? 100 degrees. Notice that in most of our sentences so far, your adjectives have come right before the noun that they modify or that they describe. Dry came right before climates. Hot came right before deserts. 100 came right before degrees. That's often the case, but not always. Look at these sentences. The sun made Eli hot and sweaty. Let's find our nouns. Sorry, Eli, picking on you today. Our nouns, person, places, or things. We know Eli's a person. What else in there is a person, place, or thing? The sun. The sun is a thing. Those are our two nouns. Now, what words in this sentence are describing words that answer what kind, which one, or how many? Let's go to our noun and ask, what kind of sun? Was it a hot sun? I'm sure it was, but is this word describing sun? No. How many suns? Which sun? So that one doesn't have any describing words. Let's go to Eli. What kind of Eli? Hot Eli. Sweaty Eli. Those are both adjectives that came after the word it described. So see, sometimes adjectives don't come right before the noun that they modify. These two came after Eli, but they still are describing him. Let's try this one. Chelsea, dressed and ready, came to dinner. What are our nouns in this sentence? Chelsea, that's a person. Anything else? Dinner. Dinner is a thing. Can also be a place we came to. Now, let's find some describing words. What kind of Chelsea? Which Chelsea? How many Chelsea? We can answer what kind of Chelsea. She was dressed. A dressed Chelsea and a ready Chelsea. Those both describe Chelsea, and they both came after her. Do we have a word that describes dinner? No, dinner wasn't ready. I'm sure it was ready, but this is talking about Chelsea being ready, not the dinner. Was dinner dressed? No, again, that's describing Chelsea, not the dinner. So be careful when you're going through and finding your adjectives that you don't just randomly highlight the word right before the noun. It's not always the adjective. Sometimes it can be other places in the sentence. So something that you're going to be introduced to, but I'm not going to have you doing your daily work, is the diagramming of adjectives. We've already diagrammed subject and verbs before, and even direct objects, but now we're going to be adding in adjectives. So again, I'm not going to have you practice this, but I want you to know how it works, and it's super simple. First, let's find our subject and our verb. We know how to do that. Read the sentence out loud with me. Cold deserts receive snow instead of rain. What receives snow instead of rain? Deserts. What is being said about deserts? Deserts receive. So we already know how to do that. We know when we diagram, we put our subject. Oops, I'm starting to write diagram. We put our subject to the left of the line, just like it is up here, and our verb to the right of the line. But what do we do with adjectives? So first of all, is there an adjective that describes our subject? Here's my noun. Let's ask our questions. What kind of desert? Which desert? How many deserts? What kind of desert? It's a cold desert. So where do I put that word cold when I'm putting it on my diagram line? Well, it's describing deserts. So here's my word deserts in my diagram. For adjectives, you just make a diagonal line underneath and write it there. And since it's the first word of the sentence, I'm going to keep it capitalized. Cold deserts receive. And that's how you do adjectives in diagramming. For your lesson today, for your practice, you're going to be using a Google Doc. And I've sent this to you via your Google email or the email that your parents have given me. And it's going to be labeled like this: English, and then your name. So if this was Ella's, it would be English Ella. Whatever your name is, that will be at the top of yours. You're going to open it up, and at the top, you'll see that is Monday's work. And it'll say Monday. And I think today's is just called adjectives. The instructions for what to do are underneath all of Monday's. You'll see over to the left that you'll have a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, and a Thursday tab. And they kind of have a line like this. These are tabs that you can click on to get to that day's work. So if you click on Monday, it's going to take you to the part of the page that you're to do for Monday. If you go to Tuesday, it will jump down to that part of the page that you're going to do on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and so on. It's just an easy way to find what your day's work is all on one page. So on your Google Doc, you have everything for the week, but you're only to do that one day's work. You don't need to save it. You don't need to share it. It's shared already between you and me, and I can see everything that you've done. I can also comment on it. So after you're finished, which means it's due the next day, so today's work, Monday's, is due tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to open up that document and grade it. If it's not done, that's a late grade. Still have to do the work, but you'll get docked 10%, right? We all know how that works. But I'm going to grade it, and then I'm going to give you comments. It'll be a little box over here. And some of you have seen this already. It'll have comments there. Maybe it'll say, take a look at this again, or you need to redo this, or hey, great job. But then when you fix those problems, you can hit resolve on that comment, and that comment box will disappear. I will be putting your grade next to every day's work. So where that heading Monday adjectives is, after I grade it, I'll put the grade right next to it, and you can see how you did when you come back the next day. You will need to do corrections, and that will be told what you need to correct in those comment box. Today's has a game that you need to do to begin. Yes, you get to start with a game, and it'll take you to another website. Occasionally I have these built in. They're review games. Today's is a review of nouns, and it'll take you to a website where you get to practice nouns using Charlotte's Web. Kind of fun. Sometimes it'll take you to a quiz, or it'll take you to a website where you get to read a little more or do a little more hands-on. But those are links that are there. And it'll tell you, click on this link, and when you click, it'll take you there. Let's see, I think that's everything I need to tell you. If you have any questions, remember you can always give me a call on my phone, or you can leave me a comment here as well. You can click on, like if you highlight Monday, it'll give you a little plus sign over here. And if you click on that plus sign, it'll pop up in a box, and you can ask me questions there as well. Or you can tell me, Mrs. Huff, this is really hard for me. I need some more practice. Or this was super easy. I really liked the game, or whatever. Don't do too many of those unless you actually have a question, but I don't want boxes all over the place saying, I like this, and you are such a fun teacher. But you can leave me comments and notes there as well. Okay, have fun. Have a great time with your Google Doc. Talk to you tomorrow.